Banning TikTok in the US is more dangerous than you might think, and here's why.
Have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
No, Senator. Again, I'm Singaporean.
Let me ask you some...
Has passed a bill that would ban TikTok.
That could ban TikTok across the nation.
Well, it could be the beginning of the end for TikTok.
TikTok is a threat to our national security.
America should be feeling humiliated right now.
It's the dumbest that I ever heard.
Hey there, my name is Chris Graby. I'm a startup investor, and today we're breaking down the controversy behind TikTok. If you haven't been paying attention in the world, there's some big news out there right now. Congress, those in power, are trying to ban TikTok, at least banning it from the Chinese startup that owns it from owning it, and maybe potentially having someone over here in the United States purchase it. Maybe Elon comes in and buys the next big social media platform. But look, these leaders in government are telling us this app could be leveraged by foreign governments like China themselves. We all know that more than likely the Chinese government is using TikTok, gaining the data and the influence to do all that they can to influence what's happening here in America. You hear news all the time that what people see in China on TikTok is very different. It's educational, it's informational, and it's trying to help move people forward in their society. But here in the United States, that is definitely not what's happening on TikTok. And President Biden said that if this passes Congress and it hits his desk, he's grabbing that pen and he is signing it as fast as he possibly can. But the real question is this actually a good thing? For those that are opposed to this bill, they've raised the question that this bill is so broad that it could potentially basically affect other companies that aren't even related to TikTok, right? So what does this mean, right? What does this mean for potential startups down the line? I mean, I love investing in startups. It could hinder algorithms and data collections. But the big question here is the debate that rages on, is this actually a good thing? It's so open-ended that the government, well, they can come in and say whatever they want when it comes to algorithms and data collection. And let's be honest, the government will always want more oversight and more regulation and more opportunity to see what's happening inside the lives of the people. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I want China's government all up in our business and influencing our kids and those who are on TikTok? No, absolutely I don't. But think about it like this. Would we feel the same way if Uber was a foreign app company, right? Would we have the same scrutiny on them when it comes to data collection and moving ride shares? I get it. TikTok's huge. It's massive. It's influencing our society. It becomes a fine line when it comes to regulating large social media entities. At that point, the door opens wide up and they can start regulating whatever else they want in a broad brush stroke. And if we're honest about data collection, look, this is the new normal. We're all walking around. We're a personal tracker. We've got our phones on us. Every single move we make, every single purchase we make, our data and information is being tracked, being sold, and it's being used to try and sell us more stuff. But the question is there ever going to be a time in our world where our data is actually safe for us moving forward into the future? And the other question is, does this mean that every new tech app startup is also not safe? Or is the United States just trying to ensure that they are actually the only ones who can access the data of their own citizens? I'm not here to try and be an advocate for China. Definitely not that guy. But what does this mean for our future? Look, it all really comes down to this. A question that large social media giants like Zucks and some of these other players have been trying to avoid for years is, should social media be held to the same standards as journalists and those who are in the world of publishing? If you think about it, 3 out of 10 US adults say that they get their news from Facebook. Their news, the most credible source on the planet, they get it from Facebook, which is a little bit scary for me. But really, truly, what news outlets can we trust anymore? Most of them have turned into propaganda machines or even entertainment platforms. Look, I do think it's a slippery slope when the government starts getting involved in the private sector and telling different industries what they are allowed to do and not do. Obviously, I hate speech that's online. I don't like when people are being bullied or pushed around. Like, man, that stuff is not cool. But we do live in America where free speech is one of our core tenets. It's what we are all about, right? And as someone who shares opinions online, sometimes my personal opinions, and obviously I share opinions on various topics, I think it's always important that when we do share something online, that we take their own personal responsibility, right? It's America, right? We take personal responsibility to actually find the facts of the situation that we're talking about, especially for sharing something about a person. Recently, I heard Grant Cardone share online something that I thought was really powerful, and I agree with it.
I can't say that Ryan Panetta is a fraud or a con artist or and not have proof to back it up. Nor should you be able to have it in clickbait titles without providing proof. So the one thing I'm going to try to actually have the law change. Understand there's consequences, but you can't damage somebody's reputation hiding under my opinion or it was said or they said without providing the facts in that article or in that clickbait title or in that video that you did.
Again, do I love government getting involved in private startups and being selective on which startups to shut down or not to? Well, that is such a slippery road. And like I said, I do not love TikTok. I think it makes our world a whole lot dumber. That I truly believe. And I don't think it's helping teenagers and the students in our world. But I obviously don't love how China is pulling the levers, in essence, making the US users dumber, more distracted, and shortening their attention span. But at the end of the day, I'm a capitalist at my core. I believe and bet on the idea that the private sector, the innovation of startup founders are going to show up and they're going to create something that's going to compete with and take the eyeballs away from TikTok. I believe a competitor will come along. Do I love China in the mix? No, I don't. Do I love the government passing bills to shut down private companies? Definitely don't. Do I believe in free speech? Absolutely, I do. That is why I do not support the government stepping in and trying to shut down TikTok or selling it to some US company. So now the government has access to all of our data and all of our information, and they can make us a little dumber on their own terms. All right, so let me hear from you guys in the comments. What do you think on this whole TikTok debacle? Do you think the government should step in, or do you think the government should stay out? I want to hear from you guys. Hey, like I said, I invest in startups. I've invested in 25 startups worth more than $250 million in value, and they continue to grow. And I'm on a mission to teach everyday investors how they can become startup investors as well. And so I've done everything I can. I've worked with my team and I've put together a masterclass that gives you the full breakdown of what's happening in the economy, how the legislations have changed, the startups that I'm excited about, and what I look for when I invest in a startup, and ultimately how you can invest right alongside me. All you have to do is click the link in the description, come check out the masterclass, and I cannot wait to see you there. Now, if you love this video, I know you're gonna love this one right here, and you're definitely gonna love this one right here.